to know all those things. Speaking of amazing C-type, integrator-type people, let me introduce my buddy Dean here. Dean is, hey Dustin, nice to show up, thank you. Dean is a buddy of mine originally from the military, turned reservist, full entrepreneur, runs an awesome kind of small group mastermind out in Colorado that I would say is, you probably say it's kind of life-changing. Albert and I cried in each other's arms one time there. Not lying, we did. And then, but he and his buddy run that. Anthony, they run 18 Alpha Investing as well. They've got a rental portfolio, and then he underwrites businesses for a living and does a lot of VC style stuff now. So Dean is an amazing integrator, automation expert, all of the above. But I think you guys will really appreciate this. For anybody that's drowning in work, this is a good one for you. All right, which one do you want?
Thank you, sir. You can just go full screen on the presentation. Awesome. Cool. Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. I love the packed room. That's awesome. I'm excited to really share some of this stuff with you guys. I'm sure, well, actually, let me get a show of hands. So who has never interacted with AI, LLMs, ChatGPT, any of that stuff? Like never, not at all. Half, one. Okay, that's about what I expected, and I love that. That's awesome. So everybody's at least kind of tried it, played around with it. Who uses it like multiple times per week, every single week? Most of the room. Okay, sweet. Almost all the room. Awesome. Who has built their own automation using like Zapier or Make or something like that? A couple of people. All right, cool. So that'll help me tailor a little bit as well. I'm going to hit on kind of a handful of different levels across the board, but I'm going to try to make it applicable to pretty much everybody. Another question, anybody here in business that's not like related or real estate adjacent? Couple people. Okay, most of the room is primarily real estate. So I'm going to try to keep most of my examples real estate focused, but really any business you are in or get into, nope, he's free. Nobody pet him. Any business you're into, like all this stuff will apply, and you'll see examples that are, across the board for anything, any business that you're into. Slide, please. Cool, so this is me. Caleb covered most of this. My background is purebred nerd. Computer, electrical, and flight test engineering is my background. I spent 11 years in the Air Force on active duty doing almost entirely flight test engineering. So I got to fly in some cool stuff. I got to be part of some cool programs. Just to set the stage as far as AI is concerned, I'm not like an AI maximalist. I don't believe that it's going to like do everything or can do everything that a human can do necessarily, at least not right now. Probably not for the next decade or so. That's my personal opinion. I could be proven wrong very quickly. But I will say, I have some heated discussions with folks quite often that say like, I could never do my job. I'm a so-and-so. I'm a truck driver. We have to work with our hands. I'm like, yeah, that's what robotics is for. And Optimus and all that stuff. And, I'm creative, so AI could never really have that human element, or my job is too complex. This plane in the foreground is being flown by a set of AI agents all kind of working together. And they did a dogfight. So like they're, fighter jets kind of going at each other with this manned F-16, the gray one in the background. And I'm sure you guys can imagine, I'm sure there's a lot of folks who have been involved with the military here as well. Like dogfighting is one of the most fast-paced, complex human tasks on the planet. So if we're already at the point, this was a DARPA project, if we're already at the point where AI can do this like fairly well and be actually competitive with real human pilots, I am skeptical of anybody who says, AI could never take my job, even if it's maybe not quite there yet. It's getting there very quickly. So I separated about 2 years ago. I reached financial freedom at the age of 33, primarily through real estate investing. So I'm super passionate about that and sharing that and encouraging others to do the same. I've been entrepreneurial all my life, and I love working with and talking to business owners. So that's what I separated to go do, is focus more on the entrepreneur side. And like Caleb mentioned, I run some entrepreneur retreats in a community. Again, just kind of education, giving back, and I just love, like, those are my people. So I love spending time around them and talking to them and helping them. Next. Anybody know who this handsome devil is? It's not me. It could be. I can grow a beard. Slide.
Aurelius?
Yes, it is Marcus Aurelius. Slide. So I am also a fan of Stoicism, and they are big on time and the value of time and the non-renewable nature of time. So this is a quote. I'll let you guys read it. I won't read it to you. But basically, the moral of the story is, hey, time's running out. We're never going to get it back. And that's the philosophical side of why I am so passionate about a lot of this stuff. Slide. So what is productivity? Anybody have a definition that they like for what is being productive? What is productivity?
Doing the most amount of work in the least amount of time
Okay.
for the most value.
Okay, so you're being really efficient with your time. You're getting the most out of it as possible. For those, probably small for those in the back, but you can always get more money, but you can never get more time. You need to ensure the stuff you spend your time on makes the biggest impact. So basically what Marisol just said in terms of making the most of the limited time we have. Slide. So to me, productivity means protecting our most valuable and non-renewable resource, which is time. Slide. Thank you. Slide. So yeah, ultimately productivity in my mind should free us to work on more of the stuff we care about, more of the stuff that makes an impact, whether that's in our businesses, in our community, in our families, all the above. The main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. Stephen Covey said that, and I think it's a catchy, and I really like it because most of us, probably none of us, got into business to do QuickBooks, unless you're a CPA. But we want to be in business because we want to leverage our superpower. We want to, flip homes, make a difference in our communities. Slide. So my goal to this presentation and to help hopefully everybody in this room is to make more money while investing less time and energy in the process. So do so more efficiently. The other caveat I'll say with AI that I like to just put this out there because this is a common objection or fear that I hear is that, it's going to replace people. At least right now, I would advocate that AI should not be replacing people, but you will get left behind if you don't use it because you're not going to get replaced by AI today. You're going to get replaced by somebody who knows how to use AI really well. And same thing in your businesses. If you have a VA, for example, who you use for a lot of I hate to call them menial, but menial tasks, the simple stuff, the repetitive stuff. Yes, AI can take that over, but then don't fire that VA. Put that VA on something that's much more impactful, that generates more revenue for you, that it allows them to use their skill set and be creative and just bring more value to your business for the same amount of money you were paying before, except now AI is doing the boring crap. So why should I care? And if you want to just build the whole slide, you can. No, they're not free. So they do take time and energy and effort to set up. So really, we want, we're business people. We want to get more benefit out than we put in terms of effort and time. So these are just some basic stats of SMB is small to medium-sized business. Your average SMB gets back 30 to 40% of your swivel chair, your admin task stuff, just in the first year. One example is an automated CRM stack. So, those reminders, and this isn't even AI, that's just automation. 129% increase in inbound leads, 36% more leads closed. And that's something that, $100 a month for a decent one, usually somewhere around there. Now, if you bring AI into that and have what I like to call a smart CRM, where it can do a lot of the personalization and stuff for you, now those numbers are going to go up even more. And these are Harvard studies, by the way. This is not just me pulling crap out my butt or off the internet. These are studies that Harvard did and Harvard Business School did to see hey, what's the impact of this stuff? And yeah, so big picture, you get 24/7 output. This thing never sleeps, and marginal cost. Again, compared to even a VA at $5 an hour, $8 an hour, AI is, well, we'll get to it on another slide, but your average cost of output is a couple bucks per million tokens. A million token output is writing the Bible. That, a couple bucks to write a Bible's worth of answers for you. So that's a big difference between a VA doing that. It would take them, weeks. But yeah, it's a blank slate. You can train it. Doesn't need to eat, sleep, take vacations, and it won't make HR complaints yet. They're probably going to get there. Next. So setting the kind of definitions of automation versus AI, for those who aren't as familiar, because a lot of times those are used interchangeably and they're very different. So an automation is basically just following rules. So it's very structured. It's if then, if this, do that. You have to give it very predictable inputs, and it'll give you very consistent outputs. Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes that's a bad thing. Automation is deterministic. AI is dynamic. It can adapt a little bit. Automation is literally just following rules. It's following instructions versus artificial intelligence thinks. Hot topic of debate, does it actually think, or is it just kind of accessing a really big pool of knowledge and predicting the next result? Because that's at the technical level, that's how it works. But you can think of it, it's meant to emulate human thought. So for all intents and purposes, it is kind of thinking and adapting. You get your static, your canned answers that are every single time you get the same thing versus like use some judgment, some, hey, what do you think about this? And it could give you, again, quote unquote, an opinion. And the positives and negatives of both of those sides. So automation is easily broken because if it doesn't get exactly what it expects, it throws an error or it just fails, it doesn't go on to the next step, or it just does nothing. So AI can adapt and kind of overcome some roadblocks or some unexpected inputs sometimes. But it's also much more unpredictable. So, you won't always get the same answer, and sometimes that's a good thing that you need. However, AI has already surpassed median human intelligence, so think your average high school graduate. And some real-world examples of this that really aggravated me the other day, so I've decided to include them in the presentation, is I went to AutoZone and I needed a replacement for one of my taillights. And I asked the very nice young technician working at AutoZone, hey, I have an F-150 this year, this mic, this model. I need a blinker. My bulb's out. I need a blinker. Yeah, no problem. Here you go. Took me over to the thing, grabbed the bulbs, checked out. I get home, I go to put it in, and I'm like, this is not the right bulb. So I said, you know what? Let me ask AI and see what they tell me. See if they give me the right answer. And it did, and it actually helped me diagnose. It said, hey, I see you have these options. What's your circumstance? There's different ones for the front and back, and all this. It led me down a troubleshooting tree. So I hate to say I'd rather have dealt with AI, but it probably would have given me the right bulb the first time. And then Carl's Jr., I don't know if you guys have been there. They have like an AI order taker now. And I've found, I try not to eat fast food too much, but I've found that it usually takes my order more quickly and with fewer errors than my experience with human tellers. So again, some of the like more entry-level jobs, but it's definitely making a difference. I find these two to be most powerful when combined. If you have a cheaper, simpler task where you need repetitive results and you know the input's not going to deviate, then use automation because it's less expensive and it's more reliable. If you need that adaptability, that human-sounding, interaction, work AI into it. And then if you need like a full-up kind of human analog or human assistant replacement, you can even get to like the AI agent level, which I don't really talk about a ton in this presentation, but they're becoming more and more capable and more reliable. So feel free to ask questions on that if you have any, or we can just talk offline afterwards. And the CEO of one of the main LLM large language model companies out there, Anthropic, he said at a conference earlier this year that by 2026 or 2027, we will have AI systems that are broadly better than all humans at almost all things. And again, I don't think we're far off from that already. So again, another objection I get, AI sucks, it doesn't work, I get crappy outputs, it's garbage. Or the people who say, just sign me up for ChatGPT and it'll do everything in my business. And I would like to say that both of those are wrong, on opposite ends of the spectrum. What you should really do is look at a system level view. So you need to perform a full audit of what you're currently doing in your business, your workflows, we'll talk about that in a second, involve your stakeholders, your different departments in your business, everybody you work with, everybody that works for you, and then implement system level solutions that work with, again, all of your systems, all of your software, because if you try to implement this stuff in a vacuum, it's going to make things worse than they started, I promise. So this is kind of what I mentioned in the beginning, where I like to just present the whole picture. And this is applicable with some tweaking to pretty much every business that's out there, whether it's a service business, you're in the real estate game in some form of, a loan officer, an agent, a wholesaler, a GC, you name it. So we have to find our customers, we have to sell them something, they have to pay for it and buy it, and we have to deliver on it with operations, and then we should, I don't always have to, but we should be doing some sort of closeout or follow-up to connect that loop and hopefully get repeat customers. So at every stage there, down in the orange at the bottom, and I'm sorry for those in the back who can't see it. I'm sure Caleb will share these slides with everybody afterwards. But all of those orange dots are just a handful of the automation opportunities that exist out there. So, and AI. So AI can help you with market analysis on the leads front. It can help you with producing content for those of us who that's a marketing source for us. The opportunity of smart targeting, so qualifying your leads, categorizing your leads, stuff like that. Capturing, I mentioned smart CRM. You can have custom drip. You can have sentiment analysis. Was this guy pissed off when he called? Was he happy? All that stuff. Generating quotes, generating proposals automatically while you're on the phone with a lead. You type some stuff into a form, you hit enter, it goes into a workflow that talks to AI, it talks to Jotform, and then it spits out a templatized but customized proposal that then automatically gets emailed to the client, and the client's like, what did I just get in my email? How did you do this? You're still on the phone with me. And it talks about the exact problems that you're discussing on the phone with them. It's nice because it's like shock value. It's not all that impressive really, but like it's cool to hit enter, they get an email and they say, you already gave me a proposal for the problem that we're still talking about on the phone. So it shows, and it's that speed to lead again. It's like, hey, I've already given you a quote. I've already given you a proposal. If everything sounds good, if you're happy about it, gives them a chance to ask questions before you even hang up the phone, overcome some objections, and hopefully get the sale right there. Yeah, there, a ton of other stuff. I'm not going to talk about all of it. I'll give some specific examples here in a second. Caleb, you go ahead. Just to cover the absolute basics. So everybody here, for the most part, has some experience with them. These are the three that I use primarily: ChatGPT, Claude, and Perplexity, and they all have different pros and cons. I use ChatGPT as a generalist. I think it's the average best at the most things. Claude tends to be a little bit more human-like. You don't get the really canned sentence structure that you get in a lot of ChatGPT. That people say, oh, it always uses a contradictory sentence structure and like an M dash in the middle. So Claude is a little bit better at some human sounding stuff, some more creative stuff. They name a lot of their models like sonnet after, poems and stuff. So they're kind of leaning into that. It also has the largest context window right now. So ChatGPT, and then what that means is how much can it remember of your conversation? So you're talking to it for a week and it can only remember yesterday's conversation, whereas Claude can remember, 5 out of the last 7 days or whatever. So just what that looks like in number comparisons, ChatGPT 5 right now, if you're on one of the paid plans, has about 200K tokens. Claude's latest models, Claude 4, have 1 million tokens. And then Perplexity only has 32,000, so it's the smallest by far. But it's not meant to be like a conversationalist. It's meant as a research tool. So it doesn't really need as big of a context window. So spoiler alert, that's what I use Perplexity for, is research, deep research. However, ChatGPT and the other models have gotten a lot better at that recently. So Perplexity used to be like the clear leader in that space, but I think the gap has been closed pretty significantly. I don't see a huge difference anymore. Although Perplexity, for especially like academic stuff, if you really want data or deep research, I still think Perplexity has the edge. So, I didn't mention at the top there. You don't have to go back. I didn't mention at the top there. So Gemini, when the first version of Gemini came out, I hated it. I still don't trust them because of kind of the like biases that were extremely evident in some of their earlier models. However, 2 and 2.5 have gotten way better, and they're really good. I'm just still a little hesitant. And that's my own personal attitude. Grok is also pretty good, although again, it's a little uncertain on the biases. Again, the earlier versions I thought sucked. The newest Grok 4 seems to be really good, but I haven't used it enough to say confidently like, hey, it's as good or competitive with ChatGPT. Okay, crash course in prompt engineering. Prompt engineering just means knowing how to talk to large language models to get the best possible output. If you don't know where to start, just ask it. How do I talk to you better? How do I prompt you better? It's a little inception-y, but it works. It knows how to talk to it. So it will tell you, here's how to structure your prompt better. Here's what I want to do. Write me a good prompt that'll give me the best output. It's not perfect. It's not as good as knowing how to do that yourself and all the nuances, but it'll get you an improvement over what you probably gave it the first time. Prepping versus prompting. Prepping is telling it like what role to act in, what kind of your objectives are out of the conversation, and it sets the stage. And it's been shown across all models to date that it vastly improves performance. So if you say, you are an experienced brand strategist who is extremely familiar with nail salons, help me develop an ad campaign. It'll do much better than if you just say, write me an ad campaign for my nail salon. And it's iterative. So don't expect, and that's another place I think people get trapped, is they're like, oh, I'm just going to give it one prompt that's really poorly structured and I expect it to give me the perfect response. No, it's like, again, it's like you're talking to a human VA. If you just tell a human VA, go do this for me, and you give them no background, no context, no processes of here's how I do things in my company, of course they're going to give you back garbage because you didn't give them good instructions. So have some ownership, and the better you prompt it and the better you work with it, it's a partner is how I like to treat it. So the basic formula that works pretty well across all models for prompting: give it a role and objective, then define your task. Give it some context around your business, the task, the history, whatever you're trying to have it do. If you want, you can specify an output format. I need a paragraph at a 8th grade reading level that's no more than 100 words, and give me 3 bullet points in the middle. Great. If you don't need that, don't worry about it, but that can help improve things. And then give it examples. So there's, it's called zero shot versus multi-shot prompting. And a shot is just an example. So if you give it zero shot, you just ask it for something and give it no examples of what's good versus what's bad. If you give it a single shot or multi-shot, means I provided, here's an example of how I want your output to look, how I want the language to sound, how I want the formatting to look, and maybe a bad example too. Here's what I don't want you to do. Don't use a buttload of emojis. Don't use, silly, trending language and cliches and stuff like that. And ultimately, garbage in equals garbage out. So if you give it a crappy prompt, it's going to give you a crappy output. There's just no getting around that. And I'll give some examples. And that's my little programming joke. So while it's not perfect, continue to iterate. Just keep trying to make it better and make it better. That's what it takes, going through it a couple times. If you want to switch over to the ChatGPT window tab and just hit enter, it should already be in there.
Hit enter.
Yep, just hit enter. So here's a bad prompt, and it just says, write me a social media post about nail salons to get me more customers. Okay, that's probably what a lot of people would put into ChatGPT, or something not much more than that. So it spits out, here's a nail salon post. Here, we don't just paint nails, we create an experience, we're vegan. Did I tell it that my business uses only vegan products? No, so it just made that up, right? So I didn't give it any context, I didn't give it any information. It's giving away free stuff for me too. A complimentary 3-minute jojoba oil. I don't even know what that is. So it's giving away free stuff on my behalf. If I were to just go post this, now I'm at customers coming in say, I want my free stuff. I'm like, what are you talking about? Well, ChatGPT told me. Try Command V. Now hit enter. Scroll up so people can see, like, this is, I wouldn't even say this is a long prompt. I'd say this is like a short to average prompt. But you see I have it broken out into those different categories I talked about earlier. And if you want to scroll all the way down, one of the things I asked for is I asked for 3 very specific outputs. So I think I asked for an email sequence, a flyer, and something else. So if you keep going. Oh yeah, there you go. Yep. And Instagram captions. Yep. So, and it asks questions. So that's another thing I like to do at the end is say, hey, before you respond, ask me any questions that you need to make this the best possible response and achieve the goals that I set out for you. Just type in, like, just send it. See what it does.
And it'll understand typos.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully. And it doesn't care about capitalization, even though I keep going back.
Yeah. They said people saying please and thank you to LLMs is costing like millions of dollars per year.
Yeah.
But Sam Altman, the founder of OpenAI or CEO of OpenAI, said, I do it anyway, just in case. And that's my attitude. Like, I want to be on their good side when the AI overlords Terminator takes over. So I always say please and thank you.
I asked ChatGPT if that was the case, and I also asked Grok.
Hit refresh.
Told me no.
Maybe they'll be mad that you wasted their time.
Just refresh the page.
Yeah, it's because probably because we're on
The crappy Wi-Fi. Yeah.
we're on my hotspot.
Oh, we broke it. Broke the internet.
Doesn't work at the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we can come back to this. The moral of that story is you're going to get a lot higher quality output out of that second prompt. And all my prompts, like if I really care about it, if I'm not just kind of brainstorming with it, I mean, I'll spend probably at least 10 minutes on a prompt for a real. If I want a good quality output that I'm going to use long term, you can go back to the presentation. If we get it back, that's fine. If not, it's all good.
Okay.
Well, maybe not.
I don't know why.
Anybody have any questions while we're resolving internet connectivity?
I have a question.
Yes.
I cheated and looked at your sidebar over here.
Yeah.
And I saw that you had a bookkeeping bot.
I do. It's not very good.
Okay.
ChatGPT is not great, I've found, is not great with numbers. And I'll say it's good with spreadsheets, but not so good with like the tabulation and modifying spreadsheets or interpreting spreadsheets. Is that, you're nodding, is that kind of what you found as well? Yeah, okay. Yeah, right. So you can have it do the scripting, but in terms of even simple stuff, and again, it's gotten better. Like 5 is a lot better than 3 was at it, but I still don't fully trust it. So I did play around with that and experimented. It was good for identifying trends. So it could really tell me trends of like, hey, you spent more this month on this line item, this category. So it was helpful there. But if I asked it for specific mathematics and calculation and stuff, I still don't. I don't think it's there personally. But so this is kind of just summarizing the first bad prompt, and this is behind the scenes. So you can expand this and see like its thought process and how it went through its steps and what it did, what it thought, what actions it took with the newer like reasoning models. And you'll see where is it? Okay, so first line of the second thing, it says, I now know the user is in Aurora, Colorado. I'm not. I'm in Denver, and more specifically, I'm in Englewood. So when you don't give it that context and you don't give it the full data set, it's going to make assumptions, and a lot of times they're going to be wrong. And a lot of times it'll straight up make stuff up. So be very careful and have at least a base level understanding of whatever you're asking it for help with. Otherwise, you can get bamboozled. Go ahead. This is another one I think everyone should be using, especially because at least some of these, I think all of them have free versions. I use Fathom. These are AI note takers. So instead of sitting in a meeting and trying to take notes, trying to pay attention, trying to write down action items, and also trying to think of what you're going to say next in response and have a discussion, I find that I'm much more engaged and much more productive in meetings if I don't have to worry about any of that stuff, because I know the entire transcript is recorded for me. It's going to tell me what action items I need to do after them, and it's going to send them to my email after the fact. I don't have to write anything down. I don't have to remember any of it. If I want to go back and look, I can search the transcript. I can even ask it questions and say, hey, I think we talked about this. Can you find where we talked about that? And it'll go to that spot for me. So even if I don't remember the exact words we used, I can say, I think we were talking about building a bridge. And it's like, oh yeah, here you talked about a cantilever or something. That's not the same word, but it's the same idea. So anyway, this is a quick comparison. You guys can look at this after the fact. They're all pretty comparable. I like Fathom the best because it's the cheapest, and I still find it to be just as, if not more effective than the other two. If you're getting into some like really technical topics and you're on super, nerdy technical engineering meetings, you might want to use Otter because it tends to be a little bit more understanding of those type of topics. But that's really the biggest difference I can see. Oh, and for teams, either Otter or Fireflies has some better team features and collaboration features than Fathom does. But otherwise, they're all pretty darn good. Okay, I said we'd talk about workflows. So before you start automating anything, you need to know what you're doing, because for most of us, myself included, many of these processes in our businesses live in our brain. You're like, I know how to do it. Why doesn't my VA know how to do it? Why doesn't my employee know how to do it? Where's this written down? Oh, it's not written down anywhere. I've just been doing it for 20 years, so I know how to do it. So one workflow is basically just, hey, taking one task or one process in your business from start to finish. So list the steps, connect the steps. How do they interact? Do I hand them off between employees, between departments, stuff like that? And then what triggers them? When do I know I need to start this process? When do I need to know I need to take it to the next step? When do I need to know I need to finish it or close it out? And whatever you're doing, whether it's just documenting, you're creating SOPs for your business, standard operating procedures, you're building automations, you're hiring an employee, you're hiring a VA, or you're just doing continuous process improvement and you're trying to make your business more efficient and better, this is useful for any and all of those cases. So this is a swim lane diagram. It's a basic process map. And you can see over here, this black bar, you can't see, I'm sorry, it's small, I'll read it to you. This black bar has departments. So don't put names in here. This should not say Debbie. This says CRM team. So this is somebody that is in your CRM department. And if you're, a solopreneur and you're doing all of this, then that's fine. But once you hire these out and have different departments, they'll separate. And you need to know how they're going to interact and who to hand off to when. But it starts with your CRM team receiving a web lead. So maybe you have a lead magnet, something you hand out for free, you collect emails, or somebody applies to know the value of their home, etc. You receive that lead, it comes into your CRM, hopefully you have a CRM, or you just get an email or something. Then you qualify the lead. Is this a real opportunity or is this just garbage? Is this spam? Is it, are they shopping for $1 million home and they only have a 10K down payment? Is the lead qualified? If so, we're going to hand it off to now a different swim lane, the sales team, and they're going to try to we're going to get a call scheduled and they're going to say, hey, I want you to buy something. Did they buy something? No. Okay, we're going to keep pinging them on whatever iteration you guys have for your re-engagement campaigns until they hopefully schedule a call again. Maybe they're ready to buy now. They weren't before. Okay, great. Get back on the phone with the sales team. Now they buy. Awesome. Let's go deliver whatever product or service that is that they paid for, that they want to buy. So, if it's a service business and you're mowing their lawn, all right, we have to send our technicians out. That's the bottom lane to go fulfill that and to mow their lawn. If you're a loan officer, okay, I need to issue them, underwrite and issue them a mortgage or a loan of some sort. So very basic level. When you start building these out more and more after you have the basic version, you can start adding in tools. So we go high level for our CRM. Okay, so I'm going to tack that on and say our web lead comes into CRM. We qualify it using AI or whatever, and that's going to interact in the system. Maybe we have a dialer or something on our sales team, etc. So no, you're good. Go ahead. Speaking of SOPs, this is Scribe. It used to have 2 E's. I think they changed it back to just one. But this is an AI tool that will automatically generate workflows and standard operating procedures and checklists and how-tos for you. There's a whole bunch on this slide if you just want to build out the whole thing. So they auto-capture processes. How they work is they just video capture your screen as you're working, and you just go do the process that you're going to do anyway, and it uses AI computer vision, and it recognizes where your pointer's going, what you're clicking on, what you're typing, et cetera, and you kind of see the little bubbles, 1, 2, 3. It's like, okay, I started over here, then I clicked this tab, then I clicked on the account name, and then there's more little diagrams for that. But then it'll spit out a how-to document at the end. And the cool part is it'll even take little screen captures just like this when it auto detects, hey, this step was important, or this user needs to know where this button is. So I'm going to take a screen capture of it and put it into the how-to document. So, step 1, click here, and it shows a picture of the button, whatever. So this is a really great way to speed up your SOP creation, whereas otherwise you're typing it all out or, whatever. So go ahead. Okay, real examples. So if you remember those, the categories I had at the very beginning with that big blue chart with too many words on it, the first one was attract, so getting more customers. So branding and content creation is a way a lot of folks now are on social media, getting eyeballs, getting attention. You can build out your strategy. You can look at metrics, what keywords are trending, who's searching for what, hashtags, etc. You can help you come up with ideas. I'm not very original, so I have it help me brainstorm. What's trending, what would help engagement in my industry, etc. And then it can even build out your whole content calendar for you. Tell me what to do for the next 30 days, what to post. These are the types of posts I like. This is my audience. give it all that context, and then have it build that out for you. And it can basically create all this stuff for you, which you'll see on the next slide. So I think if you go ahead, and hopefully the speaker's still on. Yep.
This is actually not me talking to you. This entire video was created 100% with AI, from writing the script to generating a video avatar of me speaking in my own clone voice.
So I didn't do any of that video other than hit go. I asked AI to write me a script for that. I uploaded the script into a different piece of software and said, generate me a video of me talking in my voice. I was not behind the camera for that. I did have to record a training video, but after you record a 2-minute training video and train it on what I look like and kind of my facial expressions and my voice and stuff, now I can just type or have AI generate a script, copy paste it, hit go, and it'll generate infinite number of those. Not super useful for all applications, but just, again, showing you the power of where it's going. And like, you've probably all seen deepfakes of, you know, that's commercially available for relatively inexpensive. The deepfakes are more in-depth, but also they're like dedicated hardware and stuff and models that people have built.
How long ago did you make that video, and has it changed in the past like 2 years since you've seen it?
That was a month or two ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I know you remember like the first time I ever showed that software, which was 3 years ago. It's come a long way in 3 years. I still don't love the mouth movements at the very end. The first 3/4 is like really good, and then at the end it kind of gets a little quirky. But if you didn't know me, or if you were like, oh, it's just laggy, most people, I think, probably would not notice. That's my opinion. So.
I thought it was you.
Thank you. I mean, same shirt. I cheated, right? So, okay. For the sales portion, so this is, I like to call this a warm outreach generator. So what it does, as you go through the little modules at the bottom, this is on a platform called make.com. It's an automation software, low code, no code, which means like you kind of just click and drag little bubbles instead of having to type in code. It's similar to Zapier, if anybody's heard of that. N8N is kind of like the nerdy advanced one, but they all basically do the same thing. So it starts by going to LinkedIn and searching based on criteria. So maybe I want to find business owners in the within 10-mile radius of Denver, Colorado, who have between 10 and 50 employees, and they're in the tech industry. Great, those are all criteria I can set on my LinkedIn search. Go get all those leads. It'll scrape all those profiles and give me all of their, with a software called Apollo, it'll actually get all their email addresses and most of their phone numbers. Pulls all that. Don't worry about the middle stuff. That's just kind of processing the list. Creates a big list with only the ones I care about, throws out the ones I don't. I then go and AI enhance those leads, which means I will have it research those people. So each of those leads, it'll go through the list, and I'll say, go look at their past LinkedIn posts, go look at their Facebook posts, go find me if they have a website, if their business has a website, if they have an Instagram account, wherever you want to look for this information on these people. And then I work that in, or well, I don't, ChatGPT works that in and writes personalized email based on the information it found. Hey, Bob, I see your company just won an award for being the most innovative alligator trapping company in the Panhandle. Awesome. Love that for you guys. That's so cool. Congratulations. That's not something that your canned, hello, how are you? I sell mortgages. I want you to buy from me. That's not what your canned email is going to look like. Bob's going to be like, holy crap, like he looked up my company. He looked into me. He cares, and I kind of hate to say that because it is cheating a little bit, but I think there's a way to do this ethically. It just saves you time. So instead of me having to go do all that research on my own, now it does that research for me, and I review everything before I send it, because I like to know. I don't like to, if he brings this up later in conversation, and I say, what the heck are you talking about? What do you mean you emailed this to me? You're going to look real dumb, and it's probably going to lose you the deal. But if you actually, again, to me, it's the difference about actually caring. So you can do this and just spam people and not care. But if you do this and review it and care to learn all this stuff, or at least review it, it's just an efficiency thing in my mind. I can do 100 times the work and learn 100 times the information in the same amount of time. And then because cold emails have such a low response rate, I said just cut to the chase. Assume they didn't reply to the first email. Write me a follow-up email. And here's the first email, so don't repeat anything or whatever. So then it writes me both, and it puts both of those into my database, and it sends the first one. And then if I don't get a response in 3 days, 5 days, a week, 2 weeks, whatever you like, whatever your criteria is, it automatically goes and sends the second one. I had it stop at just adding it to the database, which in this case is Google Sheets, just to demonstrate you can use whatever you want. You don't have to have a fancy CRM. You can just use a spreadsheet. Google Sheets is free. Anybody can use it. However, if you do have it connected to your CRM, something like Go High Level, or there's a bunch out there, you can just have it automatically send the emails for you if you want. So you can automate entire campaigns. It's just one more bubble hanging off the screen. Go ahead. Oh, here's what the database looks like after it fills it in. So it's just a very simple table of name, title, organization. LinkedIn has a little headline that you can set. It's like your bio on Instagram. So it uses all that stuff. It has their business website, it has their LinkedIn profile website. So I can just log into this database and read the email it read. I can click on their LinkedIn profile. I can go scan it myself and say, yep, okay, that looks right. It's it's not making stuff up. And then there's the emails it spits out. And if you leave it at the spreadsheet phase, if you just want to keep it simple, have your VA or you can do it, just go copy paste that into your Gmail and hit send. It's that easy. So it saves me 90% of the time and accomplishes just as good, if not better, than what I probably would have done on my own. And you get a much, much better response rate because you're using personal details. You're not just saying, hi, I see you're a realtor in Florida. I wanted to reach out, because I do that to everybody. I hate those messages. I will instantly block you. Next.
So did you use AI to scrape the...
Hey, Jack.
What's that?
Did you use AI to scrape for the information? Did you?
Yes, for the enhancement. Yep. Yeah, so that you can go 0 to the moon on that stuff. Like you can just say, hey, just look at their LinkedIn posts, or you can have it like go wild and find all the information it can find on the internet about them.
Did you use like Grok or something too?
So Chat, you can just add additional automation steps that can do that. If you know where you want it to look and tell it specifically where to go and how to get that. Now the new GPT-5 agent is honestly really good. I'm trying to think if I don't think I have it pulled up, but I just used it earlier today to research domains for me. So I said, hey, here's the type of domain I'm looking for. Go come up with a list of as many as you can think of. Then go to each of those and tell me if they're active, parked, if they've been bought but they're not in use, or if they're active, or if they're actual websites, but it looks like they're stale and haven't been used for a while. Then go find me the prices to purchase each of those domains and return me a big old list. And it took 10 or 15 minutes, but it did it, and it gave me a list back of 20 domains. So the agent now is pretty good, where it can start breaking down complex tasks into multi-step things, where it then has to go out in the internet and go to different resources. And I kind of told it where to look. I was like, hey, use Pork Bun first, and then use GoDaddy if that doesn't work. And then if that doesn't work, go figure it out and see if you can find it wherever you want to find it. So it's getting pretty good, but typically you have to be pretty guided with it, and that's why I use Make still. So, okay, you can go ahead. You can skip the next one. It's just a video of an AI voice agent, which actually, how much? I'm probably way over, huh? Well, you can skip this one because I have a better one.
Hey, James.
The reason I put that in is it's pretty realistic sounding. It's from 2 years ago, and it overcomes objections. So it's really good. The guy's like, I don't want to talk to you, go away. And he's like, well, I get it. I don't like getting called out of the blue either. And it has a very human-like, very sales trainee, common objection handling framework that it uses. So I was impressed by that. Do I have any brave volunteers who want to come up to the front and make a phone call for me? This is the audience involvement portion of the presentation. Albert, I'm just going to pick on you. All right, I'll just pick on you. I have my plant in the audience here. Yep. So call that number. If you can put it on speakerphone.
Okay.
If it gets confused by background noise, just take it off speakerphone, because I'll get the transcript anyway, but everybody's really quiet, hopefully.
Hello, this is Chloe with 18 Alpha Properties. How can I help you today?
Hi, Chloe. I'm calling because my toilet just completely stopped working, and there's water everywhere, sewage everywhere, and I really need some help.
I'm sorry you're dealing with that. I'll get this started right away. Can I get your name, please?
Okay, yes, it's Albert.
Thanks, Albert. I'm sorry you're dealing with that. Is the number you're calling from the best number to reach you at?
Yes, it is.
Thanks, Albert. Can I get the full property address, including unit number, city, and state, where the toilet issue is happening?
Yes, it is at 521 Aberdeen Avenue.
Kettering.
Yep. Got it. 521 Aberdeen Avenue. Which city and state is that in, and is there a unit number?
Kettering, Ohio, Unit A.
Kettering, Ohio, Unit A. Please send someone quickly. It's a dire situation.
I'm really sorry you're dealing with that, Albert. We'll get on it. Quick safety note. If there's sewage on the floor, avoid walking through it. Keep pets and kids away. And if there's any strong gas smell or you feel sick, call 911. Can you tell me right now if the flooding is still active, water sewage continuing to flow, or has it stopped?
Yes, it is still active.
All right. You can tell her you need to go handle this. And just
Okay, I need to go handle this. So call me back later. Thanks.
I hope she called this like 11 o'clock tonight.
Let me sneak in real quick. So I'm sorry you guys probably couldn't hear most of that, but it's that was just an AI voice agent that went through and triaged the issue and said like, hey, it diagnoses, is the water still flowing? Are you able to shut it off? It'll do all sorts of stuff like that. I don't know. Does she sound okay?
I mean, honestly, if you hadn't prefaced that with me, I was like busy doing the toilet thing, I would have just been like, okay, cool.
Better than MediaCom.
Yeah. What's that?
That one's using Retell, Retell. They're just a voice agent site. They're actually very easy to use. It's like a single prompt and a couple of options, and they're fairly inexpensive. I think all in, including like the model usage and stuff like that, I think I'm paying like 10 to 15 cents a minute for that, and it's only for time you use. And then like $2 a month for the phone number. So it's very inexpensive.
Is it English only or multiple?
I believe they have all like the major languages because they use 11 Labs model, which for people who aren't familiar, 11 Labs is like the leader in voice emulation for AI. So they just use an 11 Labs model with their back end like prompting of it.
What's it called? Retail?
Retell. Yep. Retell.
Does it have like a time threshold you can set? Because some people really like to talk really long and they
Yeah,
just rack up time.
it does. Like it does do a pretty thorough job, and almost too thorough. Like that's one of the modifications I want to make to this one is give it instructions in your prompting to say like, hey, keep things brief. Cut to the chase. Like don't repeat questions or like whatever. Okay, so sorry, I didn't show this to you before, but like this column was empty before I hit go on that. So this is my, it's an example I built because I didn't want garbage data clogging up my tracker, but this is a maintenance tracker example where it'll spit these in. So it went and looked at, unfortunately it grabbed all of them. I thought I had it set to only do the most recent one, but, oh yeah, here you go. Here's Albert's. So Unit A, toilet, sewage, flooding, urgent. And there should be, yeah, okay. I broke it. Sorry. So I was working with it earlier. This was when it was working. Outside shower leak, pooling by electrical. In the description here, you see I tell it to relay the severity that it determines, the summary of the call, the tenant name, and their phone number, which it just pulls from caller ID. So it can automatically generate you maintenance requests based on what the conversation it has. You don't even have to have a human involved in the loop at all, other than on the back end. And then if you want to get really fancy, you can have a Rolodex of your favorite vendors and say, hey, if this is a plumbing issue, dispatch this to Bob the plumber. And here's all the information you need. It asks for tenant availability. If I let it keep going, it would have said, hey, what times are you available for a plumber to come by? And if they said no times, it says, great, we're going to access your unit. Hope that's okay. Let us, you call this number if it's not, but like, especially if it's an emergency, like we're coming in, right? Most of you guys know the laws. So it follows the laws around that, but it says, if you can't give me a time within the next 24 hours and it's urgent, our handyman's going to come by with the key and he's going to come in. So it lets them know. So you can link all that stuff together, automate as much or as little as you want.
Will be Terry Town.
Well,
Haven't been upgraded to that. Yeah, fine. Don't fire the brewery.
yeah, and that's kind of what the automation looks like. So it pulls the call from the call software. It runs it through a handful of ChatGPT things just to kind of determine, like, a lot of that sanitization of if they say the unit number, or sorry, the address a little weird, or like the voice agent spells it wrong. It makes it match what the options are that I have that are actually my properties, so we don't get a weird, non-property. So it can associate it with the right property. It determines the urgency based on what they said. So they don't have to say this is urgent. If they say, I have a pipe leaking, there's 2 feet of water in my apartment, and I can't shut it off, it's automatically declared urgent, and it gets dispositioned as such. So they don't have to say the word urgent. They don't have to say the word emergency. If they say my house is on fire, it says, hang up, idiot, call 911, get out of there. It's nicer, but that's the gist of it. So it can handle, and again, that's the nice part about AI, is it can kind of think, and it can extrapolate, I'll say, those kind of, that leap from 2 feet of water, oh boy, okay, that sounds bad, that's an emergency. And it's getting a little emotional as well, because it told Albert, hey, I'm really sorry you had to deal with that. That sounds really difficult. I'm sorry you have to go through that.
How many different AIs or automations are you using for that task alone? You're using the Asana, I saw. You're using retail.
Yep.
What else are you using there? You're using, so it's called kind of a...
Yeah, I guess I can go back. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I guess. So retail, some LLM. I've used ChatGPT in this case. You can use whatever you want. In this, actually, this is one I built for my friend because he uses ClickUp versus Asana, but they do the same thing. For everybody who's not familiar with those, they're just project management software. ClickUp or Asana, and then if it's the bottom branch is the urgent branch. So he says, if it's urgent, send a Slack message to my property manager, so they know right away this urgent request came in. So a human gets involved in the loop right away. So I guess that's 5.
Do you get frustrated when you think that all of a sudden one of these AIs is going to come out with all of that in one, and that you've worked and built this all out?
They already, again, with like the agent capabilities, they already kind of have. They're just not good enough yet, in my opinion. So I know this is going to become obsolete at some point. I don't think that's going to happen for the next couple of years. Personally, that's my opinion. But yeah.
Thank you.
So,
What's the workflow integration program that you're using?
make.com. Yep.
You do this amount of work in Zapier as well?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Okay.
They all have the same level of capability for the most part. I think I was talking to Caleb, you earlier, but like N8N is kind of the nerdy one, and like they're usually like more programmer heavy if you want to get more custom and more advanced with it. But you can do scripting and code in Make as well. And then N8N came out with like their agent module, which just helps you use agents more easily and build agents within N8N to do kind of more autonomous tasks. And then like everybody freaked out. They're like, oh, this is a game changer. Like N8N is going to put Make and Zapier out of business. And then 2 weeks later, Make came out with their version of it. So I was like, just wait. Like it's all going to catch up. ChatGPT comes out with 5, and then it's beating all the benchmarks of all the other models. And then 2 weeks later, Grok releases 4, and now it's just as good or very close. So I don't. People freak out about that stuff. I don't stress about it. It's all a giant game of leapfrog at this point. So. Closeout, this isn't even, you can put AI in this to make it more personalized, but this is just an automation workflow as well. So reputation management, aka getting reviews and keeping your reviews positive, and a lot of them. So a lot of it's just asking, as soon as you close out a deal, instead of you having to remember as the business owner or your salesperson to ask for a review, all right, they paid the invoice, great. Now you probably want to insert some quality control in there, like did my team do a good job before you ask for a review. But as soon as that job is finished and your tech says like, yep, customer was happy, they loved it, great. Now it automatically sends an email saying, hey, we really appreciate your business. Reviews are one of the best ways that we help people find us so we can do a good job for everybody else and help our business grow and help feed our family and yada, yada. Please consider leaving one. Here's the link. You can do some things in there. There's a gray area of filtering bad reviews, so be careful with that. But you can do a little bit of screening to say like, hey, again, quality control. Was this person happy? If not, can I fix it before I ask for a review? So that's just like basic business stuff. And then maybe you want to give an incentive. If it's negative, then it notifies your GM and they try to fix it. If they leave a 5-star, great. Now your next step is you automatically ask for a referral, whatever. So it's just whatever steps you like to do that you find are successful in your business, just put it in a workflow and have it be triggered automatically so you don't have to forget to do it. And then there's a couple other things that you can use it for. There's a lot. Like if you can do it in your business, you can replicate that with AI and or automation today. It may not be 100% as good as what you're currently doing or what your humans are currently doing, but even if it's not, even if you get to a 70% solution, you probably just saved about 60 to 70% of your time. You can still have that human QC it, and now they're doing 2 to 4 times as much work as they were doing before at a similar level of quality. That's the power right now. It's not replacing people. It's not, doing everything for you. It's not hitting a button and going on vacation. Your business runs itself. It's just, it's a force multiplier. It's allowing you to do more at the same quality level with less work and less time, and usually less money too. Okay, that's it. Thank you guys. That's all my info. All my contact info is on the left one. Not really doing those anymore, but if you really want to sit down and chat about where automation may be useful in your business, you're welcome to. That link still works, so my bad, but your gain. If you want to book something, feel free. I will honor it. But hi, baby. But yeah, that's it. Any questions?
So are you still running Flywheel?
Technically, yes. Yeah. Yep. Questions?
Have you used retail?
Mm-hmm.
Have you used that in acquisitions purposes versus just like an intake?
I don't. I know people who do. I don't think they use retail specifically. I think they use Air.ai, which was like kind of the OG voice agent. And the feedback I got from him, he does like wholesaling and that sort of stuff, is he's like, at least from what he can tell, he doesn't survey people, so this is kind of a wag, but he's like, at least from what I can tell, 8 or 9 out of 10 people have no idea it's even AI.
Okay.
So. And I think retail is better than Air.
Yeah.
Personally, but.
Retail's better than what?
Air.ai is the other voice agent software. I didn't even mention it. Speaking of sales and outbound and acquisitions, like there's I think it's on the last slide. It's called Second Nature. It is an AI video avatar sales training program. So you can tell it like, hey, here are my objection handling techniques, and here's how I like to sell, and any PQ or whatever that thing is that people like to use. This is how I sell. This is how I want to train my salespeople. And it's a live like role playing AI bot. So it'll follow whatever instructions you tell it and like score people on how well they do and give them feedback on, hey, you missed this opportunity to overcome this objection or to upsell or whatever. And it's really cool. Like it's just so much better than having it. I think, and I'm not a sales guy, so whatever, but I think the quality is just as good as role playing with a real human. Maybe like 10% worse.
Yeah.
But now you can have your entire team training simultaneously instead of having your one lead sales guy spend an entire day with each person. Right.
Gotcha.
And it's infinite. Like you can have them do that for a week straight, and yeah, it's just way more scalable.
Can you legally do outbound cold calls? Like the legal?
Not a lawyer. Please don't quote me or sue me, but B2C, so you cannot robocall consumers.
Okay.
As far as last I knew, is illegal, and you will get hefty fines if you robocall, including AI, consumers. As far as I know, you can still do it B2B. So if they are a business, you can still AI call them outbound. I think. Double check your locality and current, et cetera. But that last I knew, that was the case.
So you could tell it to find all the LLCs that own property in the area.
Yep.
Find the LLC phone number.
Or even Google Maps, right? Scrape Google Maps. Everybody has a Google My Business these days.
Yeah.
So pull that number. We know that's a business number. They're listed as a business. Fair game, in my opinion.
Nice. Okay.
Has it gone to the point where it helps you calculate the possible after repair value and then what the gain is going to be, and then also kind of like incorporate what your rent should be for a property to sanity check or give you another voice of like, hey, this is what you need to rent it to make it profitable to you at a certain percent.
So Marisol is basically asking, can AI underwrite deals in terms of ARV and rents and, just make sure your deal numerically makes sense? And what you said in your question, I think, is the exact answer, which is it's a sanity check. So yes, it's good enough where you can use it to kind of check your local rental comp data, your sale data, stuff like that, if you're in a disclosure state, and that's publicly available. Yes, I would not have it do it on its own. And actually, Deal Canary House Canary is one of the ones that has been using AI in their automated valuation models for a while now, and they're pretty good. And they look at stuff like interior pictures if they're available. So one of the biggest reasons that estimates suck is because they look at square footage and bedrooms, and they have no idea if there's shag carpet or granite or LVP or what's inside. Is there no drywall, or is it like luxury Class A whatever? So that's what's up.
Did you say Deal Canary?
House Canary, I think is what it's called. Yeah, so they have an automated valuation model software within their bigger offering, and I just had someone run one for me, and it was like, I don't think the input data was good, so again, garbage in, garbage out, but it was like not that great. It was pretty close, but it needed work. I'll say it that way. So good sanity check, but I was able to kind of look and be like, no, that's not right, and it's missing a comp, or it didn't look at this comp, or whatever. So still not fully able to do it itself, in my opinion.
What have been your go-to applications for deal finding and then assessing whether it's a deal that you want to walk into? Because, there's the human factor of it, right? That you're not going to capture in a picture. Like, I can show a picture, but it's not going to see that there's actual foundation issues unless I'm there. So what have been your go-to in the last few years? You said you didn't like Gemini, the first one, but you kind of have reservations on. So what have been so far, like, this has been 90% accurate for me, and it's been solid and giving me advice or whatever?
I don't use AI for any of that. And part of that is because of what I just said in terms of I still do manual comps and manual underwriting because I trust me way more than I trust it if I have hundreds of thousands of dollars on the line. I love AI. I use it every single day, but I would not hand it 100K and say good luck. So I don't trust it to that level yet. Again, it's a good sanity check. It's a good first look. It's a good, am I in the ballpark? It's great for that. Is this town worth investing in? What is the rent to purchase ratio? Some of your big picture metrics that you like to filter on. Are there any appreciation indicators? Is Intel putting a plant next to this town in the next couple of years? It can go look up stuff like that and kind of give you a big picture research view. But actually, over the last year or two, my deal sourcing method is my buddy says this deal is a good deal and I trust him, and then I underwrite it in more detail and we invest together. So sorry, that's not a here's how AI can do it for you answer, but it's the real answer. So any other questions? Phone call is cool.
Yeah, guys. So I talked to Dean 2 years ago and told him he should create a company to do this, and then finally he did. So if you do want to reach out, right there, he's flywheelautomation.ai. Being smart, probably too smart for his own damn good, to be honest, but Thanks, man. I really appreciate you. You
Yeah.
came all the way in from Colorado, guys. So, buy them a non-alcoholic beer or something. Say thanks, but thanks for sticking around as well.
Thank you guys. Come find me after too if you have like a one-on-one question. I'll be here for a bit, so I'm happy to chat.